Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the inaugural lecture of Professor Nico Schutte. Please remain standing for the rendition of the national anthem by Kaylin Williams. Thank you. Thank you, Kaylin. We now call on our Rector and Vice-Chancellor, Professor Pretorius, to do the official welcome. Please, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Thank you.
Good evening, colleagues, students and guests, and welcome to the inaugural lecture of Prof. Nico Schutte. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to our deans, our deputy deans, our acting deputy vice-chancellor, Professor Sean Pather, and a special welcome goes to the family and loved ones of Professor Schutte, and to everyone who has supported him on his journey up to this point. We are grateful that as a family you are here to share in this important moment, both for Prof. Schutte but also for the university. Becoming a professor is no small feat. It's a long and challenging path that demands immense personal dedication and the support of those around you. Professor Schutte's journey has been one of both commitment and innovation. His research has addressed some of the most pressing issues in today's evolving world of work. At a time when artificial intelligence and automation are reshaping the workplace, his focus on blending technology with human adaptability and continuous learning is particularly relevant. And I'm so glad that especially for Prof. Schutte's inaugural lecture that we have so many of our students in attendance. Tonight we continue a long-standing intellectual tradition that carries great significance not only at UWC, but also in the life of universities around the world. For any academic, an inaugural lecture represents a very significant milestone in their career. It is called an inaugural lecture, but I suggest it is not a beginning. Indeed, it is an opportunity for a professor to present the body of work of what defines them, the body of work that indicates what they stand for, and therefore the body of work that indicates what they profess as a professor. Inaugural lectures offers the university community an opportunity to listen to colleagues in other disciplines, to think with them, to engage with their research from the perspective of our discipline. And in other words, it allows for transdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, and interdisciplinary exchanges of ideas. While working across fields and across disciplines is never easy, it's essential for finding solutions to the grand challenges of our time. The complex challenges that we face in today's world is not going to be solved by the individual working alone on his or her research. It will be solved by collectives of scientists from various disciplines coming together to address these global challenges. I have no doubt that when we all leave here today, Prof. Schutte, we will leave with fresh perspectives, fresh new ideas from Prof. Schutte's discipline, and our own academic journeys will be enriched by those perspectives. Thank you once again, everyone here, for joining us this evening. We look forward to what Prof. Schutte has to share with us in his inaugural lecture. I'll now hand over to the Dean of our Economic and Management Sciences faculty, Prof. Michelle Isso, to formally introduce the inaugural lecture from her faculty, Professor Nico Schutte. Prof. Isso.
Thank you, Rector. Good evening, everyone. I'm not as tall as our Rector, but I hope you can see me behind these big bouquets and everything else in front of me. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all this evening to the faculty's inaugural lecture, but I think especially Professor Schutte's wife. He says his mom's also here. I think his brother and other dear family members who have joined in this important event. Professor Schutte is a distinguished academic and thought leader with a multifaceted research portfolio that intersects various contemporary issues in the discipline of industrial psychology, but also cuts across other disciplines to include public administration, amongst others. His research is focused on talent management, neuropsychology, strategic leadership, human resource management, knowledge management, and organizational behavior, amongst others. His work in these areas reflects a deep commitment to advancing knowledge and practice within both academic and professional contexts. Professor Schutte has established himself as a prolific researcher with an extensive body of published work that includes numerous articles in high-impact journals, books, and conference presentations. His research is characterized by its interdisciplinary approach, bridging gaps between traditional academic silos to address complex real-world challenges. His insights into the interplay between human behavior, organizational dynamics, and leadership strategies have informed and shaped best practice in various sectors, particularly within public administration and human resource management. In addition to his research, Professor Schutte has made significant contributions to academia through his role as a mentor and supervisor. He has successfully guided a substantial number of master's and PhD students, helping to cultivate the next generation of scholars and practitioners in his fields of expertise. His mentorship is highly regarded, with many of his students going on to make impactful contributions in academia, industry, and government. Throughout his career, Professor Schutte has been recognized for his outstanding contributions to research and scholarship. He was honored as the most productive senior researcher of the faculty at Northwest University in 2014, a testament to his prolific output and influence in his fields of study. Moreover, his innovative work has earned him multiple awards from the South African Board for People Practices, including Best Publication in HR Research in both 2015 and 2018. In 2018, he was also awarded Best Human Resources Consulting Product for his pioneering community outreach initiative, Gift Back, which has become a model for integrating academic research with community service. Professor Schutte continues to push the boundaries of research and practice with ongoing projects that explore the latest trends and challenges in his areas of specialization. His work remains at the forefront of scholarly and professional discourse, contributing to the development of new theories, methodologies, and practices that enhance organizational effectiveness and societal well-being. I now welcome Professor Schutte to the lectern. Please join me.
Right, so formal. Dean, Rector, I really want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Appreciate it. You made me feel so special tonight. And yeah, it's a privilege to be here, standing in front of everybody and delivering this inaugural address. And I want to say thank you for everybody making time available to attend this session. I really, really appreciate your time, making this occasion a reality. Prof. Pretorius, you said a very important thing. I think when you said it's not inaugural, some of us take it serious because it's not a beginning. It really spans out a life of work that you have to tell everybody what you've been doing in this hour or 40 minutes. Putting everything out there and trying to make people to see what actually, who you are, what is your interest, which makes it tough. We're still pondering on some of these things. We're still thinking about these things. And as you've rightly said, Dean, and as you rightly said, Prof, some of us, we don't have the answers. It's still work in progress. It's still work in discussion. And that's why I want to say tonight, it's a discussion lecture. It's let's see, let's discuss, let's find out more. Let's go deeper into some of these areas that I, as a professor, thought interesting. It might be interesting to me. Like you've said, all of us got our own areas. So thank you for this welcoming address, Rector, Dean, and everybody. So it's now over to me, and to start my address, I'm not sure where the technical guys is. Can I put up my slides? So just... Hello. I thought they've got it upstairs. Right, yeah. As you can see how many times I've done over and over and over. No, never good. Great stuff. Everybody hear me? So people, thank you. We're going to do the leveraging digitalization and neuroplasticity in the new world of work inaugural lecture, as we've just said. Introduction. Just to give a little background, I think if I ask everybody a question and if we ponder about it, I think we will realize today that, as the rector have said, and can anybody tell me in this room who do not have a cell phone? Is there anybody who do not have? Can anybody tell me that cell phones turn your life around? Look at everybody. Yes, if I look at Prof. Schutte, I can see he's still busy on his cell phone. Appreciate it. So people, yeah. So to me, it's tonight I want to talk about this phenomenon, changing effect that have impacted everybody on this planet, and all of us are affected in one way or the other. I want to talk about the evolution of human resource management and how does technology affect it, and what is it that we can do in order to make sure that we as human beings understand technology, but how do we understand also how do we be influenced? The evolution of human resource management is rapidly advancing, driven by digital transformation, deep understanding of neuroplasticity, the brain's capacity for adaptation and development. People, and this is what we're talking about. If you think about it, if I ask colleagues, if I asked you, what generation of phone do you have? What Apple, what technology, laptop? And you will tell me, Prof, it's a 5th generation, it's a 7th generation, it's a 12th generation. So what we find is that the technology also did adapt. And that's what's happening with our technology, the brain, the human technology. So I will be talking about this human technology, the brain, and how the brain adapts. And we talk about agility, and what is agility, and how do we talk about agile, being agile? How do we become agile? As we see, these forces are transforming not only our ways of work, but also every dimension of human potential within the new world of work. People, there's no company. Just think about when the dawn of COVID-19, how did we run around as a university? There was no one university globally that didn't struggle with technology. We are still struggling with technology. How do we do online learning? How do we adapt our people to get them to come to terms with technology? What is happening? By drawing on global best practices and innovations, we can better navigate the complexities of the fourth industrial revolution. This era characterized by integration of artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data, analytics, automation, and all of that go beyond of mere adaptation of technology. It becomes a necessity. It becomes a way of life, people. It's interesting that we see young kids. You know, my wife, we travel a lot internationally, and one thing I like to watch is young kids at the airport. It's just interesting how they try to take away a young person, a young kid's phone or tablet. How do they work with those things? It's astonishing how they just do it and how busy they are. Okay, let me just... Synthesis. HR 5.0 reflects the synthesis of current technologies, advances with principles focused on human values, resulting in a hybrid model where technology enhances rather than replaces. And this is something that I see a lot of people struggle with, is to say that we're going to be replaced. From my standpoint, from my way I come from and with my research, it's not going to be replaced. It's going to enhance what we're doing. Neuroplasticity plays a key role, as its principle helps us design more personalized, responsive development initiative. So how do we, as human beings, become one with the machines? How do we start to understanding? How do we become part of this machine learning? By focusing on the brain's adaptability, HR leaders can create learning environments that support both individual growth and organizational goals, allowing teams to innovate and remain competitive in the fourth industrial revolution. So how do we take as leaders, how do we take as a university, as HR leaders, how do we take what we've got for HR, our human resources, and these machines, how do we blend this to become integrated with each other? How does the brain work in understanding that role? What is it that machines do that the brain also do? How do we make that compatible? And that's the question in my mind. On the agenda tonight, what is the evolution of human resource management in South Africa? Where did we come from? Then take a peek at understanding neuroplasticity. What is HR 5.0? Integrating digitalization and neuroplasticity. How do we integrate these two? The fusion between the two. Applying neuroplasticity to HR domains. And we're going to talk about neuroplasticity to HR domains. We're going to talk about Schutte's development of a framework, the 5.0 framework, which is a lifelong work and it's still in progress. Then practical implementation and challenges, and then we have a conclusion. So let's kick off this very inaugural. Let's kick off with a fun interactive game called Alphabet Relay. So I want everybody to produce words or phrases related to neuroplasticity and the new world of work for each of the following letters of the alphabet. So A, let's get a word for A. If you think about neuroplasticity, what word comes to mind? Agile. Right? Atom, yes. AI, yes. I can stop my lecture because I've got professors here. What else? Adaptability, Monet. Adaptability, yes. Anybody else? Come, students, come on. Show this professor's wrong. Do your thing. It's now to shine. Achievement, brilliant. Okay. If we think B, what can be with B? The brain, yes, the brain, definitely. Brains, of course. Brain, what else?
I'm thinking of bonding.
Bonding, Definitely in organizations, let's bond. What about brilliance? Okay, C? Capability. Brilliant. Capability, yes. Complex. Confusion. Talk about it. Thanks. Confusion. Confusion. Very silent up there. Cognitive. Oh, you Googled, I see. Great stuff. Cognitive and D, if you think about D. Diligent, yes, diligency. Yes. What? Development, definitely. Development, yes. That's why we're here tonight. Development. Diversity, diverse. You've passed your CAM. You can write now the, the CAM marks there, Prof. Okay, and E? Effectiveness. Energy. If you look at all those, old efficiency, effectiveness, Energy, I love that. Energy, yes. Excellence. Great. Can I get a round of applause for everybody? Right, people, what just happened? So for A, adaptability. Who said adaptability? Simona, you passed. Okay, you're good. Brain training, we talk about brain. We talk about cognitive flexibility. We talk about digital skills, emotion intelligence. Right, people, what just happened in this room? This is a sneaky professor. Huh? He just taught you Neuroplasticity 101. All of you now won't, if I go back and say, okay, give me A, what will you say? B? C? Just like a choir. Music to my ears. So people, what just happened, all of you learned a new word. That's neuroplasticity, the agility of the brain. How quick did the brain take that new word? Can you see what happened when we have fun? Can you see just how quick the brain adapts from old to new? Wasn't that fast? 2 seconds, 5 seconds? And that's what we want to hear, and that's what I want to teach tonight, to talk about and discuss and have interaction with you and say, do we do this anymore? Do we do this? Do we have this kind of fun? Or is it all focused? And how quick is the brain response to new things? That you resist this training? I didn't see resistance here. I see fun. I see the brain open up. And that's important, people. When you talk about neuroplasticity, we need to make sure that we understand that the brain is very fast. It's very agile. It can quickly adapt to new things. And how fast did you lock it? How fast did the brain... I mean, when I asked you again, A, B, C, look at what you do. All new words. Within a few seconds, people. And that to me is the beauty and the mystery that, as Prof, the director, Prof Pretoria said, the mystery that we investigate, that we really go in and we want to research, is this thing about, we talk about all these words as professors and academia, and we sit in the corridors and we have coffee, and we talk about, yes, we need to be agile, we need to be quick, we need to be responsive. My question is, yes, we need to be, but how? How do we do it? How do we get somebody to be responsive? How do we get an organization to be responsive? How does the brain this machine. I mean, if you think about, we're also machines, we're also machine learning. If you think about responsiveness on your emails, if you think about your Gmails, how many responses it's give you. Sometimes, some of us, let me give you time to think about it. How many of you sent a wrong word to somebody because of your cell phone responsive? And then we have to say, sorry, that's not what I meant. How quick is that, people? I mean, all of us can say, I confess. And people, that to me was wow. If this machine called cell phone can do it, then my machine must also be able to do it. How does it work? How do I act? How do I throw out words? How do I take that in? And how do I help organizations to understand that they throw out responses? Be careful, and somebody might take that response. And later on, we call it resistance, or we call it something because somebody reacted to that word. So those are the things that triggered me. Evolution of HR in South Africa. People, HR is not new. It's not new to South Africa. It's not new to the global. It's just something new that's happening now to us. So the evolution of human resource management in South Africa is deeply intertwined with the country's socio-political and economic history, people. It's something all of us experience. We still experience the aftermath of some of these. We still talk in the corridors. We still braai and have discussions about this. In the early stages, human resource management was primarily an administrative function. You know, when I started in this journey and at organization, it was only, and some organizations still only pay structures. That's what they do, HR and policies. That's what we do, and that's what we did. So in South Africa, we transitioned through historical milestones such as post-apartheid reconstruction. So human resource began to evolve into more strategic. Suddenly we have this discourse, we have this discussion, we have this talks about, yes, we need to become strategic partners. And when I ask Carmen, she will tell me, no, I'm your partner, I'm your strategic partner, and you know, there at the faculty. I want to partner with you, I want to walk with you. And when I hear these talks, I'm excited. Because then I hear that we're evolving. We've been out of the blocks. The arrival then of the fourth industrial revolution, also called Industry 4.0, makes a critical stage where technology reshapes HR functions through automation and data-driven processes. People, I don't think there's any doubt anymore about it. We see any organization that technology plays a huge, huge role, especially when it comes to decision-making. We make data-driven decisions. Analytics starts to play a big role. But still we find companies, still we find organizations who still do not apply, who still do not understand the power of technology. This period emphasized digitalization, enhancing efficiency, but still largely transactional. The current HR 5.0 era represents a pivotal shift, moving beyond mere digitalization towards digitalization where advanced technologies like AI and analytics are integrated with human insights. Where machine meets man, where they come together and they play each their part. So it becomes very, very important. So neuroplasticity, it's a transformative topic. Neuroplasticity is the brain's remarkable ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. It's not just a scientific curiosity, it's a profound implication for HRM. This is intriguing to me. As machines are learning, we talk about machine learning. To me, what is this thing called the brain? How does it learn? How does it take what this machine do? And this machine is much more brighter than this machine. How do people with brains develop this thing? So that interfusion, that interconnection puzzles me. In an era where businesses face rapid change and increasing demands for innovation, understanding and leverage neuroplasticity can provide a significant competitive edge. We hear it every day. Innovation, competitive edge. We need to become competitors out there. Even us as researchers, even us as professors, that's what we do. We want to write articles that makes a difference out there, that shows a gap. We talk about ontology, we talk about epistemology, we talk all these languages, but when it comes to, we need to identify a gap. And that's why it intrigues me. How do we find gaps? Integrating neuroplasticity into human resource management practices offers a variety of benefits, from enhancing training and development to improving employee well-being. Currently, we hear the word well-being, organizational well-being. But how can we do that? How can we apply principles of neuroplasticity that can help with the well-being of organizations? As we explore these concepts, today consider how applying neuroplasticity principles can transform human resource management practices and drive organization success. So those are the core components of HR: digital transformation, human-centered approach, human-machine collaboration, personalized learning pathways, and continuous adaptability. So, in order to give you a little bit background, where does this component of HR 5.0? I will go a little bit deeper later on. As Professor Torres and the Dean have said, as professors, you profess. And this is a lifelong research topic of mine, and it's still in progress. As it's agile, adapts. In 2015, I developed as Prof have said, I've received an award from the South African Board of People Practices, where I'm the first and only one in South Africa who validated the South African Board of People Practices competency profile model. And that's where it comes from, where I then started to really delve into this framework. So if we want to be professionals as HR practitioners, what is it that we need to do? What is the competencies, the skill sets that we need in order? And I've developed it now into say, not only do we need certain skill set, but we also need to understand how organizational needs certain skill set to adapt to an agile environment. So this is where it comes from. So digital transformation description, the integration of technologies like AI, machine learning, and predictive analytics to optimize HR functions and automate routine tasks. So this is where it comes from. Automated recruitment systems, people. There's recruitment systems that it's crazy if you go into those systems and you see what they can do, how they read you, what they can do for you, and how do they analyze you. Human-centered approach, focus on employees' well-being. This becomes more and more apparent in these days, organizational well-being. Continuous learning and fostering a supportive work environment, human-machine collaboration, personalized learning pathways, and continuous adaptability, which is AI-driven tailored learning experiences based on individual performance, data, career goals, and organizational needs. What is it that the organization needs from people when they go into AI? Promotes an adaptive workforce. How do we promote an adaptive workforce capable of rapidly responding to changes in technology, business demands, and the global market? And one of these things that we see currently is and even here at university level, we talk about flexible working hours, isn't it? It becomes the talk of the month of the year. Everybody's working. What does it mean? How does it affect? Is people equipped to deal with flexibility? That we train them how to deal with flexibility? How do they deal with this? So it's very important. So HR competencies that drive innovation and growth, the model that we talked about. The HR Human Resource Management Competence Model serves as a framework that outlines key competencies for HR professionals, what they need to contribute strategically and operationally within organizations. So it aligns HR skills and behaviors with business objectives to ensure value creation. It also focuses on 3 domains, which is professional behavior and leadership domain, service orientation and execution domain, and business intelligence domain. So it's 3 domains, broad domains, with each have 4 specific competencies in this agile. So first of all, human resource 5.0, competencies and sub-competencies, professional behavior and leadership domain. What does that consist of? First and foremost, we need to understand that HR cannot function without good leaders. Leaders with integrity, But what does it mean? And we go to delve a little bit deeper. What does it mean if we talk about leadership and we talk about credibility within the space of the AI? What does it mean if we talk about organizational capability within the professional behavior and leadership domain? We talk about HR professionals. Let's see. What do we talk about when we talk about solution creation within this domain? What do we talk about when we talk about interpersonal communication? Because sometimes we don't see HR talking to anybody. They're somewhere in an ivory tower. What does it mean if we talk about service orientation and the execution? How do they provide service and how do they execute within the AI? Which include talent management. How do they manage talent in this day and age? And how can neuroplasticity help them? How do they talk about HR governance? Analytics and measurement. How do we measure in these times and age? How do we also do HR now on a state of a solution creation? How do we take the solution and we get service delivery at the end? Business intelligence, very important. We talk about business intelligence. It's very important because if we do not understand the business, how can we provide the service to that business? Because the brain is going to have different routes that it's going to go. Talk about strategic contribution, business knowledge, HR technology, and we're going to talk about the greater of the business knowledge. Adapting the Schutte model to neuroplasticity. Schutte's human resource management competency model adapted to integrate neuroplasticity principles into each domain to foster a workforce that is adaptable, innovative, and capable of continuous learning. Following is how neuroplasticity could be incorporated into the domains. So we're going to go. First, we're going to talk about the professional behavior and leadership domain. So leadership and credibility, organization capability, solution creation, and interpersonal communication. Understanding the professional behavior. And this is not professors that are professional. So, people, what do we talk about professional behavior? Because professional is not a title. And sometimes we forget that. It's a behavior. How do I, as a person, behave as a professional? First of all, professional behavior in the workplace refers to conduct. When somebody meets me without seeing my title, coming from the outside, how do I conduct myself to that person at the cold face? What is the first thought when that person leaves about me in my conduct? And sometimes we forget that. Behavior and attitude that an individual display in their professional work environment. It involves adhering to ethical standards, exhibiting respect, and maintaining integrity in all interactions. And I think one thing we forget sometimes is the word integrity. Professional human resource practitioners are required to demonstrate professional behavior in addition to having expertise. Now think about it. So it's professional behavior in addition to have professional expertise. And professional conduct goes beyond just technical expertise, working with documents and do your thing. Hay and bear and all those things we do. It involves implementation and upholding of a particular set of rules governing behavior in addition to the lack of unprofessional conduct. It also contributes to individual and organizational reputation. How many of us in this room think about this organization's reputation? And sometimes we forget that. Whatever we do, however we conduct ourselves, have an influence on this organization's reputation. Impact, individuals exhibiting professional behavior often become role models. Do we need more role models in these days? Influence team dynamics positively and contribute to a harmonious work environment. It sets the groundwork for active leadership in organizational excellence. So professional behavior becomes pivotal in how we do our work. Human resource leadership and credibility and neuroplasticity approach. So how can we do better as HR, as leaders? Relevance to human resource management leadership. Neuroplasticity is relevant to HRM leadership, as it offers insight into how individuals can develop and enhance their leadership skills over time. Again, over time. By understanding neuroplasticity, human resource managers, leaders can create environments that support continuous learning and growth among their teams. People, and this is critical, that we understand that it says, by understanding neuroplasticity, human resource leaders can create environments, and this is what we need sometimes. We do not create the environment where other people can flourish or grow. We are so task-driven that we forget a human being needs to grow. And that's sometimes what we forget. Human resource leadership should embrace neuroplasticity as the foundational concept for leadership development. And how does this work, and what is the significance of credibility? Neuroplasticity relevance is to credibility lies in the ability for human resource management leaders to adapt their behaviors and attitudes, thus gaining credibility through consistent improvement. So what we are saying here is that leaders need to understand that adaptation is not going to happen if it's not a conscious decision. You need to make that decision that you want to change your behavior. And then that can happen through allowing yourself going through processes. Leaders can enhance their emotional intelligence, first of all, emotional intelligence, cognitive flexibility, and resilience by leveraging neuroplasticity. What is cognitive flexibility then, people? How does this play rules for HRM? How does this become important for HRM? If we still have followed the rules set by 1694, 1664, what, 1654, how would this universe have been? Can you think about the cognitive flexibility that we need to build in? Open for what? What does cognitive flexibility mean? You are open for what? So if I go to my dean and I say to her, Dean, I want to discuss, and she says no. She's not open for what? For cognitive flexibility. And that's why it's so important when we come to each other, when we have reasons, when we reason to each other, that we allow that reasoning. Because an argument, when an argument is offered, we counter that with a more productive argument, not with a personal statement. And that is cognitive flexibility, people. We need to be open for counter arguments. We need to be open for arguments. We don't shut it down because of a power of position. Neuroplasticity organizational capability. What is the capability of an organization? The subcomponents of solution creation is a critical aspect of professional behavior and leadership dimension. It involves actively an innovative approach to identify problems and developing effective solutions. People, that is very important. When we talk about neuroplasticity organizational, the brain wants to find new ways of working, but it can't, because the one thing of the brain, it gets so far set in its ways. So we need to seek to say, what is it that we can do new in our own organization? How can we bring the teams together in order to find that new way of working? By understanding and harnessing neuroplasticity, human resource professionals can cultivate and enhance sense of problem recognition. What is it that we can do better in this organization? Now, I've seen case studies where big companies like Microsoft, I worked with Microsoft in an area. Every 3 months, they gather their people and ask, okay, what can we do better to keep you here? Think about that. What can we do better as an organization to keep you here? What is the problems that you are dealing with that we can overcome in order to help you to stay with us? So, very, very innovative. Unlocking organizational growth through power of neuroplasticity. Organization leverage neuroplasticity can better address mental health issue, people. It's all about promoting habits that enhance brain health, such as mindfulness and stress management, which can improve overall employment well-being. So it's all about understand and address complex workplace issues more effectively. How do we address workplace issues? How do we deal with each other? Do we discuss workplace issues or do we hide from it? It also says that through continuous learning and experiences, the brain's neural networks become more efficient at responding patterns. This approach highlights the importance of promoting brain health to enhance cognitive functions, which in turn can lead to better problem solving and improved workplace performance. How do we do it? How do we as groups come together? How do we as groups in departments? How do we as groups as faculty levels? How do we come together and discuss problems, issues? How do we talk about our... I think one of the biggest things in South Africa that is alarming high, I think more than 90% of organizations talk about burnout now. People, this is alarming when I look at neuroplasticity. Why? The brain doesn't think about new things. We don't talk about things. We don't talk to each other. When we talk about neuroplasticity, that's what we should do. Just talk. This is what it says. Just talk. How are you? What is happening? How's your life? And this is what neuroplasticity do. Because the brain wants to talk about something positive. Let's talk. Let's talk. Neuroplasticity solution creation, people. Quickly, neuroplasticity can significantly enhance human resource management solution creation by fostering a more adaptive and innovative approach to addressing workplace challenges. How do we address workplace? You know, I've always loved to watch the undercover billionaire or the undercover boss. When they go out there and suddenly they hear from the ground workers, the grassroots workers, the solutions. Prof, how do we undercover Dean? Just imagine, think about it. When we become part of the solution, not part of the problem, when we really go out there and talk to our people, because they might have an answer, but because of position and rank, they might feel they're not part of the solution. And that's what neuroplasticity say. We all want to create a solution. By integrating these neuroplasticity-driven approaches, HR professionals can enhance their capability to create effective, innovative, and adaptive HR solutions that contribute to overall organizational well-being and success. I mean, if you think about it, if you're going to go talk, you know, I like to talk at our building, there's a security guard. I like to talk to him. You know what? They watch. They see what's happening. And they will tell you what's going on. They watch people. And, you know, for me, that's interesting to just stop 5 or 10 minutes, talk to the person. Very, very nice person. All of us know him. And I will make time just to, you know, because he will tell me. And if I hear something from him, I know what's happening at my department. So I need what to do. So those are the things that we need to do. Interpersonal communication, people, I think this is critical for us. Not only as a university, but also in organization, the inter- and intrapersonal communication. Neuroplasticity proposed that individuals can improve their communication abilities over time by engaging in deliberate practice and gaining experience. Again, people, consciousness, deliberate practice. Applying these concepts of neuroplasticity to interpersonal communication with organizations can significantly enhance collaboration, productivity, and overall workplace culture. You know, interesting. How many of us, if I asked you tonight, have met each other before? This is not time for confessions. But think about it, interpersonal communication. We sometimes see each other only through technology. We don't meet each other, we don't have a coffee, just interpersonal communication. For neuroplasticity and for the brain, it's very, very important. Talent management, and we talk about service delivery, metrics, and analytics. Service orientation, execution, people, we cannot talk about this enough. HR service delivery and execution is particularly important in the context of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. The revolution is driven by advancements in artificial intelligence. We talk about that. In the context of the HR service delivery and execution domain, particularly within the Fourth Industrial Revolution, neuroplasticity can be integrated in several ways to enhance organizational effectiveness and employee development. How can we do it? The mechanisms of neuroplasticity are essential in the context of organizational talent management as they offer value insight how employees can acquire, adjust, and cultivate. Acquire, adjust, and cultivate new abilities in their careers. Do we know How do our professors acquire, adjust, and cultivate new? Or are they already? Do we know what we do as organization? Through understanding these dynamic organizations may create more efficient training programs, leadership development initiatives, and performance management systems that facilitate ongoing growth and development. Personalized development plans, promoting growth mindset, feedback and coaching, measuring and evaluating progress. 4 things that's easy, but do we do it? Do we do personalized development plans? Do each of us here have personalized development plans? Do we have a promoting and growth mindset? Do we understand what that means? Do we get feedback and coaching from people that develop us? Do we measure and evaluate our progress? 4 easy things. HR governance. Effective human resource management governance is pivotal in driving organization success and ensuring sustained competitive advantage. Moreover, organizations with healthy human resource management governance structures are more likely to achieve their strategic objectives. What is the governance? What do we talk? Neuroplasticity talk about learning and adaptation. We talk about culture integration. We talk about leadership development and change management, as well as ethical decision making. And especially 2 things: leadership development and ethical decision making. When we talk about neuroplasticity, it can be utilized by strengthening ethical decision making skills. HRM can provide training that stimulate the brain's ability to recognize ethical dilemmas and choose most appropriate course of action in alignment with corporate. Let's think about at HR. Let's think about our leadership processes in an organization like a university. I haven't seen any leadership or any HOD or any SRC being trained on governance and ethics. We assume those things, that is going to happen. But for the brain, nothing is assumptions. It still do what it's supposed to do yesterday. It's not going to do new things. So we need to rethink these things. Metrics and measurement. Metrics and measurement is a subcomponent that becomes increasingly important field of human resource management. It involves the systematic collection of analysis, HR functions with the aim of informing decision making, and then evaluating the effectiveness of HR initiative and driving strategic improvement organization. When we talk about it, first and foremost, performance metrics. Neuroplasticity highlights the potential for continuous skills development and improvement. HR metrics that tracks performance over time can reveal patterns of growth and adaptation, reflecting the brain's plasticity as employees learn, apply new skills. What is our performance based? How do we do it? What is the feedback that we get? How do we improve on that? Engagement and analytics, diversity and inclusion, well-being metrics. Neuroplasticity can influence by individuals' well-being. HR analytics that track stress levels, mental health, and overall well-being can provide insight. Isn't that interesting? I mean, when I walk into the faculty, and I might have buzzers here when it's red, then the dean just leave me and, okay, he's stressed, all this analytics telling me I'm stressed, going into all these things. So reporting, visualization, decision-making people. How do we make decisions? The process of deciding which metric to report and how to present them involves critical thinking and decision-making, skills that can be enhanced through neuroplasticity. As HR professionals make choices about what data to include and how to structure their reports, they can develop more refined judgment over time. Think about how do we do our service delivery is a critical subcomponent. Neuroplasticity plays a pivotal role in service delivery by enabling HR professionals to adapt their service delivery approaches in response to feedback and changing organizational needs. Just quickly, incorporating gamification, for instance. I see a lot of companies currently use gamification and badges and all these things to help organizations and help the employees. Service engage employees in activities that stimulate their brain's reward mechanisms. This encourages regular interaction with HR systems and can make learning new processes enjoyable, fostering neuroplasticity. Think about our systems that we have, how fun that can if we employ gamification. I think of the math system, I think of eCanva, I think all the system that sometimes when I came here, it was, wow, what is this? Suddenly you play around. It's gamification. You get a kudo, you get a game, a badge. You've done this, you've done that. I mean, it becomes the brain quickly adapt to that. Strategic contribution, business intelligence. Business intelligence, the mind people, if we do not understand, if we are not intelligent, if we do not understand the organization that we're dealing with at a higher level, the brain doesn't adapt. It shuts down. Strategic contribution, first of all, in the 21st century, the role of human resource evolved significantly, moving beyond traditional administrative functions. We talked about it. HR professionals are now expected to play a crucial role in driving organizational digital transformation and aligning HR strategy with overall objectives. So what's happening? CEOs now assume that HR will have the competencies in order to drive the organization through digital transformation. It's just something that's happening. Emerging technologies, understanding business strategy and data analytics skills. Neuroplasticity equips HR managers with the cognitive agility needed to understand and harness the potential of emerging technologies in shaping companies' culture, strategy, and talent needs by embracing technology and leverage HR systems effectively. And sometimes I see that HR think this is a role by the information technology, by the IT guys. This is not IT. This is how do we embrace that? How do we get it? Understanding business strategy, we talk about that. Data analytics skills, strategic HR decisions rely heavily on data analytics. HR professionals can utilize neuroplasticity by taking course or workshop on data analytics and tools and techniques. Business knowledge management people, critical. If a professor leaves this organization, what is the gap that he or she leaves? If a dean leaves the position after tenure, what's happening to that? How do we manage that knowledge? Business knowledge management is a critical aspect of business intelligence to make within a human competency model. It involves the systematic management of an organization's knowledge, assets to harness decision-making, innovating overall business performance. Neuroplasticity plays a significant role in business knowledge management by enabling professionals to adapt their thinking and knowledge management strategies in response to new information and changing business landscape. How do we change to the new? How do we capture those? Just a little. Some of us. So, technology neuroplasticity. By utilizing data-driven insight, HR professionals can design interventions that not only address current workforce needs, but also anticipate future challenges. People, technology neuroplasticity, technology, interactive dashboarding, gamification again, micro-learning module, personal learning. Let's build some micro-learning that we can learn what is happening in the organization, where's the organization future, what is the strategies of the organization, how do we encourage people to do that. Business acumen, as we said, business acumen is a multifaceted skill that equip, and it's also the ability to apply knowledge effectively in a real-world situation. How do we apply our current knowledge? Near-term business acumen, building a learning culture for HR professionals, and data analysis of business lens. How do we build a learning culture through HR learning? Conclusion, the rapid evolution of technology has transformed the workplace, requiring a workforce that's both skilled and adaptable. In this dynamic environment, human resource management must promote a culture of continuous learning and development. Traditional practices of talent attraction and retention are insufficient. Human resource managers must proactively focus on upskilling current employees and preparing for future challenges. By leveraging neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt and learn, human resource management can implement targeted training programs that promote adaptability and innovation. This creates a workforce that's not only skilled but also adaptable, fostering a culture of innovation and resilience. Ultimately, a strategic human resource approach that prioritizes continuous learning and development is essential for ensuring organizational long-term success in today's ever-evolving world. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Schutte. It was really a privilege and honor to listen to you. You are a thought leader, as the Dean have said. With that, let me invite our discussant, Professor Marietta, to the podium to give input on your lecture. Thank you.
Rector, Deans, Professors, Prof. Schutte, I want to thank you for an insightful lecture, for how you've stimulated our thinking tonight. If I can briefly summarize some of the key words that came up for me as I listened, I heard continuous learning, innovation, growth, development, but also collective growth. Key themes were highlighted in this lecture. The one is neuroplasticity in HR 5.0 and the brain's ability to reorganize itself. And we learned that through the A2E exercise. And I suppose none of us will forget how quickly that can be done. And this is crucial for our adaptability to deal with rapid change, to foster innovation in business. We also learned about the evolution of human resource management in South Africa, moving from the early stages of a more administrative function to now, in the current HR 5.0 era, the shift towards digitalization and the integration of advanced technologies whilst maintaining a human-centered approach. And what I appreciated about your conversation was the focus firstly on who HR practitioners need to be, but also on what they need to do for others, the environment that they need to create. And hence, the integration of technology and human-centered approaches stands out. The idea of incorporating fun into what it is that we do. An emphasis on cognitive flexibility, pattern recognition, and critical thinking, whilst using data-driven decision-making. We balance it with empathy and adaptability. If I may, I would identify some strengths in the lecture that you provided. I believe that there's comprehensive coverage of the HRM 5.0 competency model and sub-competencies. And if we had more time, I believe there would have been a lot more detail that could have given us insight into the strategic contribution and so forth. There's also alignment of this model with organizational goals. There's also innovative application of the neuroplasticity concepts as applied to various human resource domains, for instance, talent management, HR service delivery, as well as business intelligence. I liked, for instance, that for talent management, it's about looking at the mechanisms of neuroplasticity that helps us to understand how employees can acquire, adjust, and cultivate new abilities. In the HR metrics, using our little buzzer or whatever it may be, HR analytics that track stress levels, mental health, and overall well-being, all areas that is of great struggle for HR practitioners and organizations at the moment. There are also some questions that come up as I listen to the lecture. So I am wondering, you spoke about the challenges and also some of the mechanisms of HR 5.0 in the South African context. And given us our unique socioeconomic landscape, how might the implementation of these principles be different in the global context? Also, if we consider lingering inequalities in the South African workplace, how may neuroplasticity assist in this regard? Together with that, there are some ethical considerations that I suppose one do need to take into account. So, neuroplasticity used to enhance employee skills and adaptability. Are there any potential ethical concerns about using these techniques to shape employee behavior or thinking? The typical word we used was brainwashing. Also, how can organizations ensure that neuroplasticity-based interventions respect the individual's autonomy and privacy? And these elements remain above all, because as we talk about machine and brain, to my mind, brain always comes first, and the human leads where the machine must follow. So to suggest some further areas for research, because it seems, Prof. Schutte, you are not done, and that there is more to come, I would be very interested to hear about the long-term effects of neuroplasticity-based HR strategies. So long-term studies, seeing how these approaches have made a change in talent management, for instance. Cross-cultural applications of HR 5.0 would be quite interesting to see how it compares in a global context. And also the integration of HR 5.0 with emerging technologies. So the lecture does touch on the fourth industrial revolution, but further research could explore how HR 5.0 principles can be applied to manage workforces in highly automated or AI-augmented environments. To conclude, I want to reaffirm the importance of what you have shared tonight and how we are keeping abreast, and I trust that this is very useful in how we also train and teach our students. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. We're now coming near to the end of the evening. I'm calling on Professor Mahembe for a vote of thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, first and foremost, I want to say to my colleague, well done. At least the anxiety is gone. And yeah, today the man was looking very professional because he had to do a formal presentation, but the man is full of humor. So when he started by his game and he said, what has just happened? I wanted to say that we've just been shaxed. But since it's a formal thing and also engaging in the game, I've learned quite a lot on the importance of neuroplasticity. And it's a very important concept because it is also used for resuscitating individuals that would have suffered from brain injury and brain strokes. So you can see now the application to HR. It means it's very important. It will continue to sustain the operations of our organizations. It means there will always be economic development. And its marriage to artificial intelligence, also very good. I'm sure you remember artificial intelligence. It starts from here. Everything started from the brain, and then they tried to mirror it in the computer and going and going and going. So it means we will still be having good and productive organizations. So thank you very much, Prof. Over to what I need to do. I need to give a vote of thanks, and this is the part that is very interesting, especially if you have presented, all the adrenaline will be settling down, the stress going down, because my colleague was stressed because he has not presented to this panel before, but he has done well. And I would like to give a vote of thanks. I would like, first and foremost, I would like to thank the rector for availing himself. He has got a busy schedule, and it's a good honor that we have him attending to a presentation, especially from our department, industrial psychology. Then our dean, thank you very much for also organizing and attending. Before that, I would have our acting DVC also, thank you very much for the time, for making it, they have busy schedules, but they managed to make it to be with us. The registrar's office, most of these arrangements that we have, all these nice things that we putting on, they made all the logistics. We only came and then we just raised our hands in order to be robbed and say, here we are smart. And all the program documents and everything, they also helped with that. And to the program director, Prof. Greg Davids, well done. The program has gone on smoothly and is still going smoothly. Thank you very much. Prof. Marita, the respondent, thank you very much for articulating the strengths and possible areas that we can also take away from this man and also improve on them as we continue to develop our own research. The EMS Dean's Office, yes, they did a lot. You know, the initial emails were coming to say there's this inaugural lecture, please make sure you respond, you attend, and so on and so on. They did a lot of work for that. Institutional advancement, they also did quite a lot. Audiovisual services, we are talking because of them. We had minor glitches, but they fixed they attended to everything. Risk and compliance, metro cleaning, we can't do without them. We definitely acknowledge them in their absence, wherever they are, even if they are watching online, you are acknowledged. We always acknowledge you a lot. Z&R caterers for catering, we still have to eat the food. It's outside, but I've seen it, it's there, so we'll soon be enjoying the food. PS hiring for decor, I'm sure I have seen what they've done print-wise for the programs. Yeah, we are there. Lastly, surely but not least, we would like to thank the family. This man, if you had said you are not working tonight, this man would not work. So it's your support that has gotten this man this far. So his family and friends, some of the friends could not be here face to face. He still has a lot of friends from Northwest. I'm not sure if they are watching online. If they are, I want to say thank you very much for all the support. If not, when you go on YouTube and to watch this video, you must know that you have been thanked for all the work that we have done. We are having this man here now at UWC in the Department of Industrial Psychology, and we are happy to have him. He is not going anywhere anytime soon. He will retire from here. All the knowledge that we helped develop, it's part and parcel of us, and we will continue to enjoy it. Thank you very much. And before I give back to the program director, I would like to call upon our Dean, Professor Iso, to hand over yes, Dean. So we're handing over something to our Okay, thank you very much. I hand over the program back to its owner, the program director. Thank you very much for listening to me. My name is Bright, like sunshine. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Maembe. That brings us to the end of the evening. Just want to call on the audience. Please, could you remain seated until the academic procession have left the auditorium. Thank you. Yes, could we also stand? Can you play the song? Thank you and safe journey home. Thank you.